All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Confessions from the Darkside. Today's episode is going to revolve around a topic that we had an intro for recently. That topic is religion in horror. Today's episode, we are starting off with the Vatican. But before we get into any of this lovely talk that will either upset some of you,
Mm.
make some
This
of you
whole
curious.
this whole series is going to piss someone off.
Oh
Might as well
yeah,
be us.
I definitely can't disagree with you there. This whole series probably will piss somebody off at some point in time, whether it's going to be the first episode of this series or the last episode of this series. It's going to piss somebody off in a way that they're just going to have to get over it. But with that being said, in true Confessions from the Dark Side fashion, we do have a disclaimer.
Yes, we do.
We are full of so much adult content. Some may think that is unnecessary. Some of you may think that this isn't needed. If you are one of those people, then thanks for checking us out. But I will say this once, only once. If you can't stand the heat, get the fuck out of my kitchen.
Yep.
Now, for everyone else who likes what we have here, then regular scheduled programming will continue. Shall we get started? Are we ready?
Yes. Let's go.
Guys, this is gonna be a lovely one. Gonna be a this series alone is going to be a touchy subject for a lot of people and
Controversy.
controversy, yes.
But
And
we are doing subjects though. We've discussed this plenty. We do subjects that people don't want to do. If there is a movie about it, we're going to fucking talk about it. If it's a horror movie, especially, we're going to fucking talk about it. They're
oh,
putting it out to
absolutely.
people. So if you don't like maybe the kind of religious-y type things that we're going to be talking about, or you feel that maybe we've got it wrong, then just skip this one. Skip this. We're not telling you not everybody's gonna like every single bit of content that we've got. I would really like for everybody to like everything, but again, we don't live in a society like that. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be some of the subjects that we touch on, especially with this series, because, religion is one of those series that can cause third world wars just because somebody did not like something that somebody else had said.
how the conversation
Yes,
start.
but with that being said, let's talk about the religion and horror movies. I'm LunarXRising.
And I'm Darcy Darkness.
Welcome. Darcy, how you been?
Okay, I suppose. How are
Doing pretty good.
you?
Doing pretty good. Just looking forward. I'm definitely looking forward to this series and then the other wonderful series that we're doing as well for the upcoming holidays, which is
We have a few little series that we've
yes.
already discussed. There's a lot of genres that we've spoke about in the past on previous podcasts that we wouldn't be doing them justice if we didn't give them their own episode.
Yeah, exactly. And
I can't talk about them or discuss them and break them down like we would do accurately, correctly, and give you basically everything basically that we have. That's why we decided, you know what, we'll just do a series for these types of subjects.
and not only that, with some of the content that we are planning already for the new year, as you said, you have up until February already planned out, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it's definitely coming along. Things are becoming a little more organized. And then we also do have, if nobody has seen the episode yet, we do have some big news. Darcy, would you like to share that lovely little minute and 30-second intro that you had posted?
I thought you were talking about something else. I was thinking, what's going on? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like,
No.
you news that I have. What the fuck? This is what happens when you act surprised like that, and I think it's something else. Excitement. No, we created an intro for our YouTube, a whole 92 seconds, but it was a lot more work for editing the picture. That's what we were joking about just before we actually recorded, for getting ready to record this. But we've created an intro for you to get to know us and what we're all about, and it's in very cheesy, I'd say 80s, 90s fashion. There'll be Easter eggs in there if you can actually tell us what movie have we based on, basically, isn't it, how we've actually done it? Because we were talking about that last week. We're not going to say it. See if someone
Yeah.
actually recognises the movie.
Yeah.
So we did it like that. And I tried to get as much of both of us in the style of it as well, not just for the way we did it, but the thumbnail and everything like that. I tried to be trying to be as clear as possible to show people this is us, this is what our podcast is about, and join us. It sounds like a cult, but it's not. We're ripping the pissed because we are going to be talking about cults in this series as well. But no, we were doing it in a kind of jest way, like join us.
Yes, absolutely, guys. It's what we have come up with, and the amount of time that Darcy had spent editing that intro. For one, being a dad, it definitely has dad joke and
Yes, it is.
everything written all over it. But
Of all
the
intros, it's a dad joke. That's what we
yes,
actually realised. It's
yes,
a massive dad.
and then with the little Easter egg that's thrown in there, guys. If you guys want to post it in the comments to figure
Yeah.
out, to let us know what you guys think the Easter egg is, we would greatly love to see your guys' comments to what you guys think it
Reactions
is.
and your
And
reactions.
yes, and let us know how you guys like it. That is going to be our future intro to our episodes.
Most likely, yeah.
And I think she did one hell of a good job doing the editing for it and everything like that. And I think it got its just. It's well worth it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I really enjoyed doing it. It was just one of those ideas. I had, you know what I'm like for ideas. I've just got to get them out, or they just literally eat me alive like a flesh
So
eating disease.
yeah, so it's definitely it was definitely, when I seen it I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I was listening to that intro actually in my headset, because I have the active noise canceling, and then it's just these headsets that I have, is they bring, like, immerse you into the sound. And just listening to it, I'm like, I'm getting goosebumps, because this is eerily creepy but awesome all at the same time. I was like, I like this.
And I was so paranoid. You were like, I fucking hate this. What have you done? I'm like,
No,
it's
it
staying.
was it was really good. There was a few things in there that I'm not going to say I can criticize. It's more or less going to be on my end, with the couple of breakups that were in there from my mic at the time.
I did relatively well for the issues that
You
Discord's
did.
having with Xbox right now, because I spent lots of time actually making sure that it lined up correctly. Can't help it
So
if Discord's going
guys.
to be a dick. It's really Crag, is it not? Is it not Crag software that's the
Well,
problem?
I think it's just the Discord on the Xbox, actually, because I'm not doing my Xbox today. I'm actually doing something a little different. I'm actually on my tablet today, and I don't know, but I don't think so far I'm having any issues.
No, there's been no cut out, no lag, and no
Good,
crackling.
good. Then this will probably be future, until they at least fix the Xbox to where I can pull it back up on the Xbox. But as of right now, this is going to be probably the future way I do it. Easily just pull the start recording and then flip over to the script and everything like that. So, and guys, don't mind me. There might be a few coughs in here and sniffles, especially if it's in between us reading. My allergies are kicking my butt. I've had a bad scratch in the back of the throat these last couple of days. I do HVAC work. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's heating and air conditioning, and I work in North and South Carolina doing it. So being outside, especially in December, you don't know whether you're going to get hit with 60, 70 degree weather or rain in 30 degree weather. And Friday, I was out raining, 38 degree weather, freezing cold, soaking wet, hoping I'm not getting sick, but that right there is just cause for being sick.
It is.
So, but let's hop into this. We have I wouldn't say a lot to go over, but we have a decent amount.
7 pages. You're welcome.
Yes. 7 lovely pages. But since you sent it to me through email, it all comes in one lovely fashioned page.
I know.
So,
Oh, diddums. Sorry.
all right, guys, let's go ahead and hop into this lovely, lovely controversy that we're probably going to get ourselves into. Sometimes people need to believe in something, whether it's true or not.
Yep.
Religious beliefs cause wars, not just actual terror wars, but between friends, family, and the ones we love the most. If it works for you, fine. But again, not everybody wants that particular savior in their lives.
Yes, I agree with
I
what I
agree
wrote.
too. Is religion portrayed accurately in horror? Again, this is subjective to the individual.
Yes.
Movies like The Conjuring and The Nun especially make out that church is all about mystery, and yet in real life, the mystery is within the walls of the Vatican. Well, wouldn't we all like to know them different roles, different measures, and different outcomes they're compared to the rest of Rome in the world?
Because not
So,
everybody's aware that the issue. See, if you leave, if a certain pope leaves Vatican City for his crimes, he's leaving sanctified ground. So therefore, he can be arrested by outside police because the Vatican is its own city and it has its own rules. So if you've broken any laws, especially if you are part of Catholicism, you have to literally live the rest of your days in Vatican City, or you will have to go to jail. Not everyone's aware of that.
a little bit of a tidbit. I didn't even know about that, actually. That was.
Sorry, that's not even from being Catholic. It's one of the things that I've learned over the years of being not obsessed, but having a fascination about why the Vatican and why religion, basically, and these types of films.
Yes. So the Vatican is subject that kind of surrounds not just the religious part of horror, but also with exorcism and possessions, the whole good versus evil approach over the past few years. More and more movies are focusing on the Vatican rather than just an old priest and young priest and see how things go. Which,
It always
in
is.
fashion, I mean, if you look at past to future, there's been a lot of, I'd say, coincidences, because even if it's, let's get off the Vatican subject for a quick second, but there's a lot of movies that talk about viruses and plagues and stuff like that, and they all seem to come to light, or it's, as I used to say, horror movies are generally trying to tell us something.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's been an influx of movies surrounding not only the Vatican but religious aspect over the years that are starting to kind of become a little coincidental about how things are kind of playing out, especially when it comes to the Vatican. So, some facts about the Vatican you may not know. It's the smallest country in the world with a little over 100 acres. Vatican City was a part of Rome for over 200 years. Rules and laws in Vatican City aren't the same as everywhere else in Rome. 1929, it became an independent country and run by the Pope himself. Yet you don't need a visa to visit while in Rome. 1626, St. Peter Basilica. Yeah, I don't know why I was trying to actually be a little more technical with the last name when I knew it was Basilica.
Okay. I just,
was
again, it's a word that I actually like to say. So.
Gotcha. Was built, and it is one of the largest buildings in the world. The treaty between Pope Pius the 11th and the leader of Italy at the time, Benito Mussolini, known as the Lateran Treaty, was signed in 1929. So in 1929 was the year that Vatican City became an independent country.
I think it's supposed to be maybe 1925. This is the year declared a holy year by Pius, whatever his number is. I'm not good with
12th.
Roman numbers.
The 12th, but
Okay.
yes, okay, 1925. During World War II, the Vatican remained neutral. Why? Well, because they had their own part in it, as we found out years later, that they funded parts of the war for their own selfish reasons, gold being one of them.
I wonder why.
I wonder what the Vatican actually thinks is how they are portrayed on the big screen. Do they ever get it accurate? Do they incorrectly show the Vatican in a negative way, or do they do this all on their own?
A bit of both, I would say.
I would agree. I definitely would say a little bit of both.
They don't help matters.
God,
They really don't. The Vatican don't help.
That's the truth. In our honesty, with all the secrets and scandal that surrounds the Vatican, I think that is why they are used as much as they are. No one truly knows exactly what goes on behind closed doors.
Sure.
Vatican horror movies, or movies that do just surround the Vatican. So we'll go with.
I just did a brief description of like the one, like especially the Pope's Exorcist, because that's a new one, and we did discuss that in the last one. Obviously, Stigmata, the Vatican Tape, the Rite. I think that's the only ones I went into because they really talk about the Vatican, but there's plenty more. So if you know anything, if you want to add anything about any of the movies, then you know.
Yep, so Darcy did a very good job at picking a decent list for what, movies that do surround the Vatican, and I do see one of my favorite movies up there. So we're going to start off this list with The Rite, The Pope Exorcist, Deliver Us from Evil, The Borderlands, The Vatican Tapes, The Nun, The Conjuring, Stigmata, The Omen, Van Helsing, which
It's a different
Yes,
thing. It's
it
make believe,
is.
but I wanted to because that was their take on the Vatican and
Yes.
the supernatural. Even though technically Van Helsing will be in the other one for supernatural, but I thought
Yeah.
it stood its place, even though it was a fictional Vatican.
Yeah. No, I know, and I knew why you put it there. I'm just like,
Don't be a douche.
I'm gonna always be a douche. Rosemary's Baby, The Devil Inside, which incoincidentally chimes in with our next one, The Devil's Doorway, which happens
Yes,
to be a loose term for a lady part.
yes,
That
yes.
was kind of perfect on how you lined that up.
Yes, but I didn't realise I'd done that 'cause I was like, the devil's inside the devil's doorway. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
That's a double movie, double feature right there of
Oh
really
yeah.
inappropriate titles, isn't it?
So, guys, as you can tell with this episode so far, we're going to be doing our own CGI version on Pornhub. It's going to be called The Devil Inside the Devil's Doorway.
With images created on Canva pic art.
Exactly. Incarnate, the Vatican exorcisms, the exorcism of Anna Eklund.
Eklund.
I was going to say Euclid for some reason. And the apparition. So I don't know if maybe you could have quite possibly, because you did throw Van Helsing in there. It wasn't necessarily brought up, but I'm pretty sure you probably could have used Constantine in there too.
Yes, I know. Because technically, yes, he was used with the church. That's
Yes.
different from the Vatican.
So yeah, that's why I said you could have, and it's kind of one of those 50-50 type things that would have kind of played a part in this, but I guess not at the same time because the church slash the Vatican,
They don't
yeah,
always communicate.
true.
It's like the worst tier system for a workplace ever since they don't fucking talk to each other and they don't communicate and never on the right page and they're always blaming other people and pointing fingers.
Yep. The mystery behind the Vatican is seen in not only horror movies but other genres and have been made famous by other writers in their stories based on what may be loosely on fact but are also scandals and rumors. And again, we never know what really happened, so there's a little piece that's missing, and that mystery is why I think it makes the audience want to see more. Whether or not you are religious or not, people like good story. They also like a terrible story, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
If the story is terrible, why is it terrible, etc.? Is it too far-fetched, or is the far-fetched aspect closer to the truth?
That makes you not believe it.
Yes,
That's the thing.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because he's Russell fucking Crowe. He
Because
could
he
be
is.
slapping fucking Ryan Gosling in The Good Guys and then fucking slapping a bitchy ass demon right in the fucking face. And just like with his words. He's just brilliant. Also, Superman's dad, Jor-El, for fuck's sake, man. He can do anything. Russell fucking Crowe. Badass gladiator. Fucking seriously, I love his movies. Can you tell?
Nope, I could not tell at all. Do you want to go on any
Russell
more
fucking
about Russell
Crowe.
fucking Crowe?
So the first movie is a more recent movie called The Pope's Exorcist. And I'm going to describe to you basically if you've not seen it or if you have seen it, whether you agree with it or not, you can let us know in the comments below. Most recently, we've had a blinder of a movie called The Pope's Exorcist, and this is based on a real life priest who was the best in his field in the exorcism game, because who knew that was a game? And this is portrayed by Russell fucking Crowe. Why does he get the extra F? Because he's Russell fucking Crowe, a complete badass of an actor, and he's just wonderful to watch in this movie. He's just wow. There's history and lore used, and also they have used his diaries. They also have there's actually a documentary I was telling you about that actually is him before he died with John Carpenter, I think. So it'll be probably something we watch maybe. What do you think? Maybe watch it if we can get it. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Over here in the States, it's Netflix.
Okay. Or the examples used have been loosely evolved to show what may have happened during these times where the priest had to go and search for these cases to see if they were a Vatican problem, a church problem, or it was a mental health problem. So he's kind of like, he has to kind of be in the outside. That's the way it's described in the movie, where he's got to be objectively standing on the outside looking in. Like he has to figure out, are they mentally ill? Is it just a church problem? Is it a Vatican problem? Type thing. So he's an expert basically, and if he's brought in, it means they've already went down every other avenue for a resolution to the problem the person who is obviously possessed. And a lot of the time they'll say it's the devil, but it's not, which we'll talk about in the actual segment about possessions and shit. And these all overlap, as you will know because you watch these movies too. I love this movie. It was dark. It had so much going on with a rich story that it kept you on your seat, which again, it's incredibly difficult to actually have that suspense and that feeling in horror movies because it's the same old BS constantly. It also made you think, I know, it made me think of a different scenario and wonder what would happen next. Yes, we know they are very predictable, but when you have Mr. Russell Crowe Stoughton, which is walking about, or just randomly going about in a wee Vespa through Rome in his full priesty outfit, by the way, just going about his business, trying to resolve the situation. It's worth it just for that. For me, when they went into the lore of the Vatican, that not all members of the church know about each other in every case from the beginning was interesting, as they're saying it's in a need to know basis. There's like these documents, obviously big ass books that are underneath Vatican City, and again they're under lock and key because they're trying to obviously hide this information because they don't want everything to know, because there's probably been a lot of casualties, hasn't there, with exorcisms and things going wrong over the years. So you wouldn't really know, even at exorcism school you find out you don't find out everything. It's basically passed on from pope to pope basically on a need to know basis, and that's going to be discussed. That is the worst kind of work environment ever because they don't fucking communicate at all. So keeping it secret safe, especially on sanctified grounds. If this is the case, then this isn't breaking the law, as it's in Vatican City with their own rules and their own. So that any sort of situation, they are good to keep that secret and mystery, so that any sort of situations of this can be kept private, and that if you're not involved, then you are kept in the dark. Which really interests me, as this is what Catholicism can be like. It's a need to know, and it's not for you, then you'll never know. And this is the mystery of this movie. This movie did so well that Netflix has greenlit a sequel for not only Netflix, but a theatrical release of the second movie, and it was starring Mr. Russell fucking Crowe again. He's coming back to reprise his role apparently, and I'm very happy about that because they did leave it on a cliffhanger. Sorry, spoiler, if you haven't seen it. It doesn't ruin the movie because when you watch it, you'll understand why. I'm totally here for that, and I'm glad he's getting a sequel, and I cannot wait to see how he'll top the first one. So, Russell
Yes.
fucking, yeah, what was that? Sorry?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to see how he's going to top the first one.
And how are they going to portray the story? Are they going to go back? Are they going to go forward? Are they going to like show you something else? Who the fuck knows? I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome. I hope. I have faith because he's a good actor, and if it was shite, I doubt he would be in it. So Russell fucking Crowe portrays Gabriella Amorth maybe, who was the exorcist for the Vatican from 1986 to 2016 until his death at 91. Yet horror and the Vatican still brings controversy. All I keep thinking is it's free publicity. Yes, it's in a negative way, but still people can tell you a little, whether it's fact or fiction, due to the saturation of the genre and how it makes more and more of us want to see different depictions of this subject even after all this time, because they haven't even scratched the fucking surface. It's another one of those topics in a subgenre that they've nowhere near fucking scratched. They've no dug down anywhere near as much as they could. There's so many things. For as long as there has been Catholicism and shit, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened, and I'm sure they could most likely find out something from somewhere between lore and myth and obviously local records and stuff like that. So that's why I'm really excited for the sequel to see if they actually do it justice. Because even though we don't like them, as long as they're good, we've not got a problem with them. It's just when they fuck the story up. So it seems that since the infamous movie about said act has made the Vatican work overtime, as it's always better to get an exorcism rather than the investigation. So investigate, I can understand why the Vatican may not like being put under a microscope. But this subject, even though the stories are fiction, but they're obviously based around or a different telling of the infamous franchise, which we will not talk about because it's got its full episode. We'll be here all day. That we won't be talking about until it's topic of discussion, as we've had a podcast just for guys at the 50th anniversary. So Pope's Exorcist went in a different direction. It went into the myth and lore and the secrets and the mystery of the Vatican, Catholicism, exorcists in general, and what they're keeping knowledge basically, and knowledge and not even the power. It's really the power of getting rid of said demon or situation, a kind of diffusion. That's what I felt with Pope's Exorcist, because you still had the mystery, because it kind of like that kind of lines up with how they would actually be. Like everything's a hush hush thing. No one talks about it. If you don't talk about it, it will just disappear and people will stop talking about well tough shit. I'm not one of those people. I'm going to keep going at it until you give me exactly what I fucking have asked. And if you don't, then you're just hiding something from me and it's going to make me dig deeper. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing I did like about the Pope's Exorcist, all in all, I think it gave mystery, but a lot more insight to the Vatican than what most movies do.
Yes.
But it still had its mystery surrounding it. Of course it does, because, well, pretty sure they have a hand in saying what's allowed to go out and what's not, especially if it's surrounding their city.
Mm-hmm.
So
you
yes,
like the whole fact the movie was very dark. I felt like it kind of reminded me of not The Conjuring, kind of The Nun, when it was showing you like the darkness of this malevolent spirit, basically malevolent.
oh, absolutely. The movie itself was not really put or shed into any sort of sunny day, really. I mean, yeah, it had its moments, but it was through and through dark. It was gritty. It had everything that you could really want in a movie surrounding exorcism or the Vatican itself. You know, they have to go through procedures before they bring in the exorcist. They have to make sure that somebody isn't suffering from mental illness or hallucinations.
Yes.
And stuff like that. The Pope's Exorcist really covered that very well before they brought in Russell fucking Crowe.
Fuck yes. There's fucking
So,
seriously another one.
but
I give him that title every time now.
yes, so anytime we talk about Mr. Russell fucking Crowe, it is now going to have the word fucking in it.
Russell Crowe
Just
just
an
gets
FA.
everything. Yes, there's a few. It will probably get fucking, and one is Bruce Campbell. Bruce fucking Campbell. He gets all
Bruce
the
fucking Campbell. The fucking chin.
exactly. Leave me in the
Oh,
chin alone.
but I thoroughly enjoyed the dark and gritty aspect of it because, again, it showed the mystery, but it showed a little more in depth of the Vatican. And I thought it was kind of one of those, well, screw what they have to say. We're going to kind of do it this way. But yet there still had to be some kind of semblance of mystery to it.
So, are you going to do? So actually, if you actually like the Pope's Exorcist and description that we gave, please tell us what's your favorite part of the movie, or what you enjoyed about the movie, or what are you find about this actual whole series genre that we are doing here. Tell us what you think and what you hope to see. That would be really, really great. If you can do that for any of the kind of films that we list, we really like to get your input and your interaction. It's really, really nice.
Absolutely. On to another good movie.
Yes, with a hot chick.
With a hot chick.
Although
Yes.
she was, I wouldn't say she hasn't really grown old gracefully, really. She looks really harsh now.
Yeah, most actors and actresses have really kind of aged like curdled milk.
Yeah, but they haven't. It's not gracefully for the poor Patricia. No.
Yeah, no, she's definitely
Patty.
curdled milk.
From,
I wouldn't even say
from last
curdled milk.
Tuesday.
She kind of aged like cottage cheese.
Ew, I don't want to think about that. I don't even eat this stuff because it freaks me out. It looks like a white brain.
Guys, the next movie that we are talking about is Stigmata. Stigmata. Such a good movie. Especially with Patricia Arquette. Arquette. At that age, when she did the movie.
She was young.
Yes. Movies based on other topics like Stigmata. Again, these are even more brushed under the carpet, and the people that are suffering from any affliction like this are well put under undue tests and rituals. There are people out there who would mimic these. Who the F knows why, but the movies have got their ideas from stories, from events, from personal experiences. From others, they had to come from somewhere, not just the imaginations of people sitting behind a desk churning out scripts. Stigmata starts with a woman who is a fun-loving hot as fuck. Patricia Arquette, 20-something, and she's not religious, yet she has sent a gift from her mother on her travels. A child steals a rosary from a dead priest. Well,
there you go.
that should have been your sign right
Stealing,
there.
lying. There is such a thing called deadly sins, isn't there? And they've
Oh
just done
yeah.
that.
And it
Karma.
seems to be cursed and is the object that causes her to endure the stages of which Christ apparently went through before he was crucified. This has
torture.
yes, this has Gabrielle
Burn.
Byrne in
He's
it
hot.
as the priest who
I'd
seems
let
to
him do
again
all sorts
lost.
of priesting things. Sorry. I like Gabriel Byrne. I like Gabriel Byrne. He's brilliant in Stigmata, and he's also brilliant in End of Days. And yes, I would let him do things to me. I'm just shouting at my husband because he kind of turned around when I said I'd let Gabriel Byrne do stuff to me. He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This to another man as well? What the fuck?"
Uh, seems to again lost his way. I bet there are times like that for everyone, but for a priest to be thinking about his faith and reevaluating it seems to be a plot. Must in Vatican movies re-examining their faith, and then they are sent for one last job to help or to show that it is all fake.
Or will they leave? Or will they just randomly
Yes.
go get laid? I would do that. But I
Yes.
wouldn't be a priest anyway, but still.
Arquette is brilliant in this movie, and it shows that she wasn't religious, the woman, and yet she was on the brink of destruction by a curse, and it totally destroys her. Between being whipped in the rain from an unknown force, then
Nice.
bleeding after what looks like some kinky as fuck torture, Gabrielle Byrne doesn't understand why a non-believer is being targeted, as it is usually people who are devout and worship God who end up with these afflictions.
Which is basically your St. Francis of Assisi sort of like
Yes.
stigma.
So she is studied by Byrne, and he doesn't think it is at first, and then he witnessed it. I feel the characters in the movie develop a really tight bond, even though he's a man of the cloth and an exorcist at the Vatican. And when he is told by the Vatican to go do his job and observe and evaluate for the next steps, he is facing his own self-sabotage about leaving the church after everything he has seen. Now is the time he wants to F off because he's had enough. Which definitely is a common thing for most exorcist movies and or priest movies, stuff like that.
He's a man of the cloth, but he is not touching cloth, I can imagine.
Yes.
Sorry.
This,
That's been stuck in my
this
head.
the story has a great bit at the end where they speak about the Vatican and their thoughts on the Gospels that were found that depict Jesus in a different light to what the Catholic Church has been telling people for, well, ever. And that these Gospels were seen as fake, yet they were evaluated by others in the historical world and were seen as legit. So they're the Catholic Church going back on what they said because man has changed these Gospels to suit the narrative of what they are trying to achieve.
Total global domination.
That's
Sorry.
pretty much what it is. I agree.
So do you like So to our audience, do you like Stigmata? Do you think that Patricia Arquette is hot as fuck in that movie? The soundtrack's amazing. Chumbawamba's Mary Mary being used, that is such an amazing scene again. Opening scene. There's a lot of darkness in that movie if you actually watch back, especially like the again opening scene where she's running in the rain, showing you that she isn't religious, showing you that she's sex positive, it would be classed as these days. Fan of her whole.
Yes.
She's just having fun, and then this shit happens. Her whole world gets turned upside down. Again, it gives me really kind of Crow vibes, Spawn vibes, with how it's the way they filmed it because it is very dark. So, do you like this aspect of Stigmata? Do you love Stigmata? Do you have any other views on Stigmata? Please let us know in the comments below. I usually let you do all the good bits, though. I'm not usually that selfish. What the fuck's wrong with me this day?
But it's also Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
I don't
I
blame
know
you.
it is. It's just I don't like that politics bullshit about, sirs and stuff.
Yeah. So, The Vatican Tapes, another exorcism movie, but is based on tapes that have been recorded during these situations. It is based on the true events, and again, doesn't mean that it is going to be any good or even completely factual, but it's based around, so please don't read much into it.
Yes, like every single thing that says based on true events or true stories, or is it kind of factual events or people's retelling, take that as with a pinch of fucking salt. That is some weak ass tea, people.
Yes. Absolutely is. But it's another way of saying each event with an entity, possession, or suspected possession is recorded for future reference, yet we hear nothing. And yet this is based on a trolling demon who is possessing a young woman, trolling shrinks, trolling the Vatican, trolling the world. And that they realize it is the Antichrist that is possessing her. Yeah, because the Antichrist has decided instead of punishing his father's bad apples, he is going to take time out of his busy schedule and possess a woman just to troll everyone and just cause a scene and then be used for future reference. An okay concept, but again, it's showing the mystery of the Vatican and everything else that goes around this
It's true
topic.
though. The Vatican tapes, if there was such a thing, they wouldn't be fucking just letting you in to fucking hear them or see them
Exactly.
or read them. It could literally be a
Exactly.
priest that's literally dying or has some crazy illness and he's literally, I'm just going to write that this happened and then someone will find it like a time capsule of shit. In the future, you may find this at the end of the world. Are we getting used for toilet paper if it's the apocalypse, to be honest?
Yes, go ahead.
The Right is a movie with Sir Anthony Hopkins. He's like the most famous actor in this movie, but the movie is amazing. And if you go to IMDb, there's a few really good trailers. So now this movie is about exorcism, but showing an old priest. There we go. We're hitting our demographic. Old priest still in the church, and a young priest. There we go. Who is considering leaving? And again, this is a plot used in many Vatican horror and possession type exorcism like movies. There's a reason why they're still there, and there's a reason why they need them. And there's a reason why they have to stay. All about lesson learning, I suppose. It's about teaching priests more about things they may encounter in their travels, about spreading the Lord's word and helping their congregation. Again, I said great cast. It's based around evil and a wayward priest who is more logical and analytical. He sees the both bad and good, but not through God and the devil, but through people's own actions, which again, it's reality and fact over superstition, basically, in religion. So this is a little bit different, as I can only imagine that some may have these self-sabotaging times to think that I have been believing the wrong thing. Is that what they've been telling me? What actually happened? Or are they manipulating you to think that this is the devil and not man himself? So Sir Anthony Hopkins as the old priest. I love this man. He's an amazing actor and he's got such an energy and talent that he grows and has been growing. And even to this day, he will always be one of the greats, and he's been a part of so many great stories and brought the characters to life in the big screen, and this movie is no different. So the young priest is sent to the exorcist school. Yes, apparently that's a thing. When you ask about these types of things, they are shooed away from like they didn't exist. They've never existed, and that you're obviously mental and deranged. Why tell you when they can just blame you? When we know that under the Vatican there are tons of religious encounters and cases and artifacts that have been recorded for their own records, so that if anything was to well arise about this, then they are there for research and as a record matching up different cases. But with all the research and studying, is that even enough? The movie is basically them trying to show a young priest that he is wrong and that he needs to see what is behind the curtain, even though you are told not to look. It's to bring him to their light and their way, to show him that he isn't seeing the full picture, yet we are not allowed to ask the questions. We are just to take what they say and then not ask about it again. Just take it as a face value and move on, basically, which again is it's not good, and it's really not an accurate way to actually maybe get someone around to your way of thinking. It really isn't. Like, you're wrong, I'm right, and all that shit. Very Matilda like. So as I could do that speech, but I'm not going to. Again, similar to when I asked my RE teacher about exorcism. When I was at school, I picked religious studies, not because that I wanted to, it's because there was a teacher that wasn't very nice, and she was always very intrusive in people's lives, especially young women, young adults, like between teenage years, because I was at school till I was 16, so it was like between 13 to 16, and she was very, very judgmental, and she was this 50-year-old virgin, basically, not anything against it. I just want to describe this woman was very, very judgmental, wasn't very nice, treated you like shit because she thought that she was this better person than you when there's no one better than anyone. And I used to ask her questions and she didn't like it. She said, if you pick it as a higher subject, then you can ask me those questions. So I picked that as one of my subjects because she did say I could ask her any question about those types of subjects if I picked religious studies. So I picked it. I basically used one of my subjects that's supposed to like help me in my life to become like whatever the fuck I wanted to do in life, just so I could troll my teacher. And this was again way over 20 years ago. Like, I'm trying to think. How do I know? What, 14 when I picked my subject? So we're talking about how many years? Is that like 20 something, 24 years? 26 years maybe? Probably 26 years. 26 years ago, I told my teacher so I could literally ask questions and ask her to basically teach me Latin and stuff. And she was just like, no, no. So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I picked a subject so I could troll my teacher and ask her questions about my religion because apparently you can't ask about it. That's what my point is. So, I asked my IE teacher about an exorcism and how they are using this abuse, the members of the church, by making them believe they are helping the person when in fact they are needing to be properly evaluated by mental health and physical health, even looking at genetic markers and maybe looking at the bigger picture. And that's what the guy actually says in it. He thinks that the people need a shrink. He thinks that they're not possessed. It's just them. It's their mental health. So secrets and lies and cover-ups, basically from the Vatican's point of view, give us proof, but what we would do with it, even if we had it, this is what is said in the movie they write. If we had the information, what the fuck would we do with it? Would it be used for good? Would it be used for evil? Who the fuck knows? All priests who have been fully ordained can perform an exorcism, yet they choose not to. This is what I was taught at school, basically. So, someone who may be training to be a priest can't do it. It has to be a fully ordained priest who's taken, obviously, their vows and stuff. And apparently, the evaluation and the observation in these situations are not done by a normal priest either. That is a specialised priest. So he can either better understand it or fix it or find out if it's a me problem or a we problem. Put it that way. Why is the Vatican so closed on this matter? And why is it taboo to ask about such things when we have said plenty? We want the truth, we want the facts, and when we see it on the big screen, we want to give the topics its time in the spotlight. Yet, this will never happen. We have to go by fictional characters and movies to fill in the blank. The Vatican could just be honest and well explain themselves, yet it's a sin to lie, yet it seems they get creative with what stories they wish to tell when this technically is a sin and a law they are breaking to themselves and their beliefs and their God. The secrets, the lies, and the evil within the walls of the Vatican will we ever get a movie depicting that? What do you think?
I think we will. I eventually have a feeling that with the way especially some of these newer movies that are kind of getting a little more in depth with the Vatican, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of controversy that's going to end up pissing off a priest enough to leave the Vatican and who's going to end up spilling a lot more than he probably should. So, do I think we will eventually get a movie depicting it or a biography or something? Yeah, I do. Eventually will. When will that be? I don't know.
We don't know if it would be edited to basically again fill in the blanks, but then no.
Yeah. Hey, and guys, if that were to ever come to light, and let's say years down the road, Darcy and I took a break from doing the podcast, which I hope doesn't happen. If it were to come years down the road and Darcy and I weren't doing a podcast, you can guarantee one of us is going to hit the other up, and we're going to do a special episode about that.
Yep. Again, if there's anything that you feel that we may have missed or you want us to highlight more on, you can let us know as well.
Yes.
And I love research, therefore, if you know anything or if there's any articles that you think we might find interesting, and we can discuss that, especially at the kind of resolution evaluation stage of our last episode. That again, we've said if you have questions, if you have any sort of things you want us to discuss, just let us know, and we love
Absolutely. We love getting comments, messages from people who have questions about stuff like this. It's a breath of fresh air when we can actually respond to you guys. To know that you guys are, A, not only listening to us, but B, are actually curious. A lot of people don't understand horror movies like Darcy and I do. We look at horror movies in such a different manner than most people do. Darcy and I are kind of spoilers to our own minds when it comes to horror movies because we can basically kind of get the gist of a horror movie within the first 5 to 10 minutes of a movie.
Yep.
So it's always interesting to see that or be a part of that. And the way we just kind of break down movies, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you're getting is descriptions, but we're eventually going to probably do like major horror movies for breakdowns because we give you our thoughts on the movies and we don't, best way to put it, is these are our opinions and our thoughts, and then since this is all research, we can actually go through and eventually do breakdowns on the movies that we have researched.
So favorites.
Yes, and it definitely that'll probably be a good topic to add to breakdowns of movies as well. But we want to hear your guys' feedback. We want to know what you guys think, and especially, as we said at the beginning of this episode, this series that we're going to be doing is going to be controversial due to the fact that religion is a very sensitive topic to talk about because, as Darcy had so diligently put it, it will cause wars, physical and emotional, within families, friends, co-workers, stuff like that.
Even a stranger you just meet in the street can have a full-blown fucking violent rage. If you talk about one or three things, money, religion, and what's the other one? Money, religion,
Politics.
and what?
Politics.
Aye. Politics, religion, and money. That's it. You're fucked.
Yep.
Literally, you're fucked. It's
If you do not share the same point of view, the same perspective, the same whatever it may be with anybody, it will cause a lot of problems. It'll be an issue, and it'll be one of those topics that, well, the topic will be a fight through and through, no matter what, and eventually it's going to burn both parties out, all three parties, all four, whatever it may be, to where they're just going to eventually say fuck off. So,
I have some questions.
guys, we do have some questions, comments.
So
Okay.
we've got, do you enjoy the romantics of horror when they use religious concepts and beliefs as their backbone? I like when they give us a religious concept and they use the actual proper lore and history. I don't like it when they go off on a fucking tangent and try
Yes.
and make it fit around the story because they've maybe ran out of, like we've spoken about before, the concept's different when you go in and say I've got a concept for a movie and then they get writers in, there's too many cooks, and then it just ends up not. If they've got a simple idea and concept and they do the research to actually pull it off, then fine. But if you're going to half-ass it, don't fucking bother.
Agreed.
Another movie.
If religion is gonna be used in a horror movie, at least have a backbone of proper research first to be able to do it. I don't care if you take an unknown demon that is not in any scripture, that's not in any book, anything like that, but at least tie it in with proper research to explain something, because there's a lot of movies out there, especially ones that are usually based on true stories, where they always change up the names of people and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you're going to take, we'll just say the devil. It's going to be the easiest, and then just say you're going to change his name, but you're going to give him the same backstory of how he came to be, or you're going to do this. At least do something like that, because that's what's going to make the movie worthwhile to watch. You're not. I don't want to sit there and see a demon named Cucaracha and he steals from the rich and gives to the poor. That's not,
He steals from the poor and gives to the rich.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll switch it up. So it's basically like a anti-version of Robin Hood. Well, that's way too far-fetched to sit there and watch. At least do the research. If the movies are going to be religious-based and have any sort of exorcism, possession, demonic presence, whatever it may be, at least have some research on the demonic, on how possessions actually work, how exorcisms actually work, stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, they can be done in a very good light if they're done properly.
Do you think that we've seen everything there is to offer on this subject with the topics that we've discussed today?
Absolutely not. There's probably so much that could be watched or viewed that we haven't even touched the surface. What we have in this list, very good start. It's I want to say it might be majority of the better stuff, but do I think we have seen everything there is to offer with this subject? No, I'm sure there's more that we probably could actually see.
I mean, maybe these movies movies, especially The Rite and The Pope's Exorcist, they're a pretty good start for opening not even a universe that's connected, but an actual just a universal, genre. Just that's an opening to what could actually bring forth, the Vatican being of a backbone in these stories and not just based on exorcisms and possessions and between right and wrong, good versus evil, the devil versus God, and all that. Basically, these two movies especially, I feel that people need to watch these movies. They need to get inspired by movies like this, inspired by, like, there's documentaries like I spoke about as well, about different priests that perform exorcisms and things, and the story about obviously the original exorcist story and everything like that. So there is a lot of things that they could totally blow open the Vatican, basically, as it were,
Oh, yeah,
in
absolutely.
honesty. So do you feel that, again, there isn't enough? We just said that we don't think there is enough, but there's also a saturation of the same old BS, because just stick a nun or a priest on the front cover, people will go fucking see it. We want to see something different. We want you to show us what you're fucking capable of doing, not just what they want you to do. What fun is that, doing what people fucking want you to do? Think outside the box, people.
Exactly.
What is your favourite horror movie that you think shows the Vatican in all its glory? I think the two ones that I picked up there, and also Stigmata, the ones that I picked, I think are really, again, they could literally blow open this
Yes.
genre and these topics. There is a lot of them that kind of touch on it. Like The Conjuring is about supernatural more than anything else, but The Nun's got its own thing and all that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what I like about The Conjuring, that they've got their full story, but they also have The Nun and, prequels and talking about things and actually using stories that have happened anyway with the actual couple, isn't it? And also things that have happened that supernaturally from, like, the English one as well. They've done the research in those movies.
Yep. And just a little tidbit too, because not a lot of people actually do know unless they've done their research. And I think I've discussed this with Darcy. If you guys watch the very first Conjuring movie, the part where they're doing the seminar in the classroom, if
That's
you
true.
actually pay attention, the actual Lorraine Warren is actually sitting in one of the seats in the seminar.
Yeah, I liked how they did that, and they tried to bring in, like, the original type of
Yep.
recordings and stuff. So they did. That is, again, not many movies are like this. I'd really like to
Nope.
see the Vatican being used a wee bit more, and not just the
Yes.
priest in the church, because, like we've said in this, it's different. The hierarchy is different.
And not only that, if it is going to be based off a true story, kind of like how The Conjuring did, add some actual footage or sound audio from the movie.
Or if there's, like, documents like they did at the end of
Yes.
Stigmata, where they actually showed you where they found the agnostic gospels. It was in this old church that was under the underground, like a secret entryway type thing.
Yep.
And they were found. And again, if
That's
something is real, they'll try and say it's not real because they don't want you to fucking read it, because you'll see how much the Bible has actually fucking changed.
Yep. And that right there just goes to show that there are a few horror movies out there, especially ones that are based surrounding religion, have actually done their research.
And did justice to the subject. There's not
Yes.
many. We would love them to be more. And this is why we're fucking challenging you. Do better, make better choices, and fucking give us something. Give us something that people are still going to be talking about in 50 years, like The fucking Exorcist, because you have yet to fucking do it. And I think you're in agreement to that as well.
Absolutely.
And how could this topic in this genre improve? And I think we've just said it. It is
Yep.
basically
Research.
research, and if you've got a concept, have an actual proper plan that can be put into action. So you don't have people coming in and taking your concept and changing it. That's all I
Yes.
can say. Stick to your fucking guns. If you've got a good concept, a good story, and you have researched and you have done everything, then it's bulletproof, your story. Then make it so, make it as you want to see, make it your vision, and show us that in the horror community and everywhere else, that it is possible to do this in our genre, not just for action, not just for sci-fi. It should be done in horror. And I know both of us believe that Blumhouse can offer a lot in that type of genre with the movies they've
Yes.
done and the subjects
Blumhouse.
they pick. So
Blumhouse, Jason, I think it's Jason Blum.
Mhm.
They have done. I know the production company for Blumhouse has been around for a little bit, but it's still fairly new. But they have done very well with a lot of their horror movies. Their horror movies right now, for some reason, I don't know if it's because of their vision. I don't know if it's because of their storytelling, whatever it may be. Blumhouse Productions seems to actually be, in my opinion, pretty much on top of the horror genre game right now because of how they depict their movies and how they tell their stories in their movies. Whether they may be, I think Blumhouse may have had one or two remake of movies, but still they did a good enough job to do them to where I can actually say the remake was equally as good as the original, but nothing obviously beats the original.
So what else do we have? So the Vatican, do you agree that it's like Narnia? We know the magic wardrobe exists in that universe, yet not everyone gets to access its knowledge. Will we ever get an actual factual Vatican movie in horror? Or will they go and do some studies at the Vatican? Will they actually do a history of the Vatican, how it became what it is today, and why all the mystery? I know this podcast may have well annoyed or pissed off anyone or everyone, but we're a channel where we discuss things in our own very unique way, and there are movies about this topic and this genre, so we're just breaking it down our way. If this isn't a series for you, like we said at the start in the disclaimer, then thanks for checking us out again, and hopefully see you again someday. But we will always discuss things that maybe some would walk away from. This is just how we are. We run into the face of danger and be like with a really long pointy stick, because every inch counts in the face of evil, even in the Vatican. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, share, follow, and comment on our videos. Check out our other social media platforms, which are on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you, again, would like to reach out to us personally, that we've discussed in our previous podcast when we're doing things about mental health and things that are on a more serious, real life subject, then you can email us at confessionsfromthedarkside@gmail.com or Behind the Mask Reviews, which again, if you know my channel, you'll know how it's spelled. And also, is there anything else you would like to add?
Guys, I know I don't think I've said it in any of the other podcasts, but if you guys want to reach out to me through my email for the podcast, it's LunarXRising@gmail.com. As well, stuff for confessions. You guys can always reach out to me through that as well. Guys, we are here for you. We definitely want your guys' feedback. Please give us a shout out, a holler, a message, like whatever it may be. But we are here for you guys. We definitely want your guys' feedback, and we definitely want to know what you guys think we could improve on. If not, if we're doing a good job already. Me personally, I think Darcy and I have, even though we're still new-ish to doing this, I think we've come a long way, and I think we've done a great job so far. But if you guys think there's anything that we could do better, let us know. We do take constructive criticism, and we don't bash anybody for it. But it's also one of those things to where if what you tell us that we're doing wrong and suggest something that's completely outrageous, we'll probably go back to our disclaimer and tell you to get the fuck out. And we're not going to be rude about it, but at the same time, we're going to be rude about it because it's like, well, that what you're saying is absolutely ridiculous, and there's no reason why we should do it that. We have started this not as a project to make money or anything like that. We have actually just started this as two friends who love the absolute shit out of the same stuff, and we're here to just do that. Whether you guys like our content, whether you guys dislike our content,
It's your choice whether to
it's your
tune in or
choice.
not.
For the ones that absolutely do love our content, we love you guys. You guys are great. For the ones who dislike our content, we love you guys just as equally as much. Don't think that
That's
we
when you
don't.
annoy them. That's just when you annoy people by telling them that you like them when they don't like you. Ways to make someone
Exactly.
feel uncomfortable.
Oh, yes.
You've been hanging about with me way too much.
Oh, I've always been like that. If you got a problem with me, I'm still going to love you regardless. You're just going to hate me more. But guys, always reach out to us, whether it may be through my Instagram, my YouTube, my Twitch, or Darcy as well, Behind the Mask Reviews. Again, if you guys have been following her or know her, you know how to spell it. If not, it's Behind the Mask Reviews. The first two E's are threes, and the S in mask is a 5. Merry Christmas. Now you know how to do it.
So, this is us from Confessions from the Dark Side, and this is the second episode in this series, Religion in Horror. And we just covered the Vatican. We'll see you in the next episode, episode 3, which will be next month. And we
Yes.
will see you later.
Absolutely. I'm LunarXRising.
And I'm Darcy Darkness. Later.
Later.